called them all together with John. We said, if you ever do this again, we're screwed. Like, we cannot possibly survive as a studio if you aren't open and honest. So that caused a dramatic change. But they didn't get all the way there. There is a difference between having John growing up with somebody and then John coming in as a powerhouse afterwards. And so that's part of our ongoing struggle, is to get them, some of whom are younger but have a lot of potential, up to that point where they have the confidence to push back on anybody that says anything. We've got these theories about how to do things. The thing is, sometimes they work because of things you can't see, because people's skills, and you take them for granted. When you take those ideas and you put them into a new group, then you actually find out what works and what doesn't work. And so really that's what we're doing now. I say we're about 3/4 of the way of where we need to be, but I can see the potential for them getting all the way there and having the quality that we want to have.
Here's a question from Section E. Was there anything that Pixar could have learned from the Disney animation team?
Well, yeah, it's like we're going through right now. The Disney animation team, because they weren't successful, in many ways, they're more open to change. And the issue we've got at Pixar right now is because they've been successful, that there is a lot of passive-aggressive behavior in doing things the right way that's proven to work. So while some of us went through the entire evolution of the system, there are people who came into it in mid-course, and they take this as some sort of gospel truth. This is the way you do things. So for me, there's nothing sacred about these things. You just do them differently because we need to. And only to find that some people can't imagine it being different. So there's sort of an inherent conservatism that I see in Pixar that I don't see in Disney, because they're trying to adapt to catch up or surpass Pixar.
One of the things that you and I talked about during break was the importance of style in leadership in an entertainment industry. Your comments and your thoughts about your style.
Well, I firmly believe in open door, meaning anybody can talk to anybody at any time. The second thing is we are, as a company, extremely candid with each other about problems. And by being candid, what happens is that everybody in the company now knows they're being included with stuff they can't talk about on the outside. So the result is the confidentiality goes way up, and leaks basically don't happen from Pixar, because we believe in being very candid. If we screw up, we say we screwed up, and we do that a lot. We screw up a lot. But there's something about doing that makes people feel more included, and I think it's very important that we always do that.
I must say, a refreshing contrast to the Michael Eisner that I experienced 12 years ago. Daniel.
Pixar was coming from a lot of success, and he was coming from a box office failure, and so you wanted him to come up and shake things up. How do you think about risk and reward in that type of disruptive move?
Well, first thing in terms of risk reward, the one thing that's very clear to me is that in the business we're in, and I think it's true in most places, is that change is going to happen. And where companies get in trouble is they set a goal and they actually think they're going to hit it. And for us, what we do is set a direction. Say, okay, we want to make a movie, we're going to set a direction. But right away we get surprises. So we adapt to them, we course correct. We course correct all the way along. And where we end up is frequently not where we started off. And we're perfectly comfortable with doing that. So I don't think of risk in the same sort of way. So in other words, we're not trying to take risks by spreading over a lot of things, hoping one of them hits. Rather, it's to say, we're putting a lot of our energy along the way, but we know we're going to make mistakes, so we're going to do these corrections along the way. So I want these perturbations to come into the system. Brad Bird came in just because we knew he was a brilliant director. His film was good. It wasn't a success, but one of the reasons it wasn't a success was that Warner Brothers put all their marketing dollars behind the film that they thought was going to be a big success, which was Wild, Wild, Wild West. Okay? So they made their choice at the time. And that choice had the benefit of letting us get Brad Bird, who was a phenomenal director. And Brad came in, and he brought in some people with him who were extremely good, and they become integrated into Pixar. there aren't a lot of bad birds out there. And we've tried a couple other times to get some outside people, but we didn't get all of them. But if they're talented, we bring them in. And I'm not worried at all about having somebody being disruptive. To some respects, that's sort of something we say after the fact, that we brought in to disrupt. The truth is we were just trying to bring in talent into the company. And always have the confidence to bring in the very best talent that you can.
Speaking of bringing in talent, how about some career advice for MBAs at the Harvard Business School? The media and entertainment industries have not always been welcoming of MBAs. Do you think there's a future for MBAs in the entertainment industry?
Well, this week we just hired a Harvard MBA. And he was working Disney. He was rotating through these different groups because they tend to want to peg people into certain analytical things, which I think is a mistake. I mean, it's a good rigor to go through, but at some point he wanted to run something, so he wanted to be on a path to producing. So he said, well, okay, the way you produce is actually you come down low level into the production and you get your hands dirty and you become a department manager. So he decided to do that. And our example of that was actually the producer of The Incredibles. Very smart guy. He came in and we knew he could be a producer, but we didn't have anything for him at the time. So what he did was he went and worked as an assistant, it's like a gopher, in every one of the departments. He did the schlep work. And when it was time for him to be the producer, he owned the crew. Right? The fact that he was willing to do anything said that he could lead them. And for me, that's the advice for anybody, is you come and you actually do the work. Don't even try to go to the top, because there's so much stuff which isn't obvious that you don't get unless you're actually down there on the ground learning how things work.